listening to the GreenSkull podcast,
a podcast for fight fans, music artists, and creatives alike. What is up, guys? GreenSkull podcast. I'm your host, MCKG, aka GreenSkull. Listen, man, we're going to talk about the results of UFC 264. Super excited. Let's just jump right into it. Now, of course, before we start, I want to talk about my fight picks. I'll put them on the screen right now. And you guys know what it is. Oh, man, if you guys follow me on Instagram, you guys saw, and it got crazy. But anyways, so we'll start with the first fight. I know Sean O'Malley versus Chris Montino. I hope I'm saying that right. But basically, Chris had 11 days to jump in to step in for the O'Malley fight. Now, I don't know about any of you guys, but I legit thought that Sean O'Malley was just going to beat down this dude. First round, it's over. No big deal. But nah, actually, Chris came up and he basically showed, like, you can't hurt me. I'm going to just keep coming forward. I want to be in the UFC. I want this, you know what I'm saying? So I respect that. I respect that he was moving forward. Now, the only thing that really got me was that Chris was not moving his head at all. Definitely getting pieced up by O'Malley, and that was bad. But I think he gained a lot of fans today because this guy was like a zombie. He should change his nickname to the Zombie because he had his hands up like this. And he was getting pieced up, but he didn't back up. He didn't do nothing. So I see after the fight people saying that O'Malley should be ashamed because he didn't take out this new guy. But look, man, just because you're not in the UFC does not mean you're not durable. It does not mean that you're a lower fighter. Now, of course, I thought O'Malley was going to beat that guy no problem first round. But nah, he showed that he was durable, and he showed that he's not going to quit, and he wanted to be there. So shout out to Chris Montino. Now, of course, Sean O'Malley, he did his thing. But basically, the referee stopped it, and crazy. Obviously, Sean O'Malley looked amazing. Chris looked like a zombie, which is a good thing, too. I'm not capping on Chris. But, yeah, I think he gained a lot of fans. I'm a fan. I hope the UFC signs him so that way we could see more of him because I think that if he can learn to move his head and pick up his hands and, move around more like O'Malley, then maybe he could actually become a really, really good fighter because he showed he was very durable. So you already know Sean O'Malley won. It was still a really good fight, so let me know what you guys think. Are you guys a fan of Chris? I'm a new fan of Chris just because his resilience and basically his zombiness, he just wouldn't stop and wouldn't quit. So, yeah. Now, the next fight was in the women's bantamweight division. It was Irene Aldana versus, let me check here, Yana Kunitskaya. We'll just say Yana. So Irene versus Yana. I had Aldana winning. It was honestly a beatdown, like most of the fight. And Irene just dominated, pretty much dropped her, took her back, and then just dropped bombs and ground and pound. The referee stopped it. Crazy fight. That chick was just bloody craziness. Now Aldana, if I'm correct, she's from Mexico, and it's real cool to see, Mexican fighters start ranking up, especially since Moreno won. But, yeah, really crazy fight, really bloody fight, but in all total dominance. And I'm looking forward to seeing Aldana fight again because that was cool. It was just a really, really good fight and a good finish, too. So a highlight victory for sure. Now we're moving up to heavyweight, man. Now, look, I posted on my Instagram that I wanted, my picks. I posted my picks, and Tuivasa was my pick, and he was fighting Greg Hardy. Now, guys, let me tell you, when I got the amount of DMs from people telling me that Greg Hardy's an NFL player, he's going to beat down Tuivasa, this and that, you know what I'm saying? That's cool. It's all good. I know what you guys are saying, but, yo, Greg Hardy, yeah, he was in the NFL, but come on, bro. Tuivasa, I think that's his 12th first-round KO in his career. It was really funny that people were looking past my boy, and it is what it is, man. So, of course, I had Tuivasa winning. Greg Hardy got knocked out first round. Crazy. But I did get scared for a second because I thought Tuivasa got rocked, And then Greg started coming up closer trying to get him. And then Tuivasa just fucking bink, and it's over. So craziness to a fight. Honestly, I feel like that should have been the co-main event, but we'll get to the co-main event soon. But yeah, Greg Hardy talking a lot of shit and ultimately getting knocked out pretty much. Tuivasa showed him what's up. And, he ends the fight every time drinking beer out of a shoe. And I actually saw when he was heading back to the locker room, he had someone give him a shoe with beer, but someone put Dustin Poirier's hot sauce in it, and he kind of started choking, it was kind of funny. But, he's a great personality. He's Bam Bam. You can't beat this dude. At least I'm glad he knocked out Greg Hardy because that dude was talking a lot of shit. You guys know that fight was like super crazy. And it was all from, I think, a left hook. Just left hook to the face. Dropped Greg, got on top of him, bam, bam, and it was over. Literally first round, and everyone thought Greg Hardy was going to win. So shout out to Tuivasa for the W and drinking the beer out of the shoe because that shit's pretty cool. Now, moving on to the co-main event in welterweight, we got Gilbert Burns and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Now, of course, I picked Wonderboy to beat Burns, and that's not what happened. But still, shout out Wonderboy. Basically, what happened was that I know that Wonderboy, he has a good takedown defense, but I don't know. He just couldn't stop the takedown from Burns. Burns really showed no success in the stand-up. I think he caught Wonderboy once. Wonderboy was piecing him up, and then anytime Wonderboy really hurt him, Burns would just go in for a takedown and try to, put him on the ground. Put him on the ground for 3 rounds. He put him on the ground once every round, so, I mean, you know what it is. Decision win by Gilbert Burns. I wasn't a fan of the win, but it's all good. He got the W, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, all that. Wonderboy needs to learn how to fight on the ground. At least in the past, I've never really seen him fight off of his back especially. But regardless, he was piecing him up, and at the end of the day, Gilbert Burns won. So shout out Gilbert for the W. He worked hard to get Wonderboy on the ground, like real tall opponent, real tough opponent, because it's really hard to replicate someone in that traditional karate style, especially someone as tall and as quick and just really good as Wonderboy. So yeah, decision victory with Gilbert Burns over Wonderboy. I was a little sad, I'm not going to lie, because I like Wonderboy. I like Burns too. I'm not hating on Burns, but I just wanted to see Wonderboy win because he fought for the title, lost twice to Woodley, so I wanted him to make one more run, but after this loss, we have no idea where this is going. So yeah, and what's next for Gilbert? I have no idea what's next for Gilbert, but I'm sure that he's probably coming up to one more fight before the title again, or maybe the title right away. We have to see what happens with all of that. Now we're getting to the main event in the lightweight division. Okay, Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier 3. Now, you guys saw my fight picks in the beginning of the video. You guys know I had the diamond winning. And man, this was the craziest first round that I've seen in a while because, look, Conor comes out. He's vintage Conor, right? Vintage Conor comes out acting like I'm going to beat someone up. And, man, it was great. He really came out in a MMA stance. He came out with his, wide karate stance. And I actually thought, okay, Conor, he's the old Conor, right? And so he was throwing a lot more kicks than the first fight. I guess he was trying to really get Dustin back for the leg kicks from the last fight. He was throwing leg kicks. He was catching Dustin. He caught him a couple times with the left hook. And then Dustin just turned it up. Conor saw a lot of success in the early round. And then when Dustin decided, you know what, I'm going to start moving, start pressuring, and Conor was getting pieced up by Dustin. Conor was backing up, trying to block. He just couldn't get it. Dustin was just too strong. And then Conor decided to wrap up. And, of course, when Conor wraps up, we all know what's going to happen. Dustin takes Conor to the ground. He tries to put Dustin in a submission. And Dustin, obviously, great jiu-jitsu, gets out of it and proceeds with the ground and pound. And Conor holding the glove, holding the fence, throwing everything off his back like a wild man, like trying his best to get up off the floor. And Dustin was just ground and pound. And eventually, Dustin got tired of Conor grabbing his glove, so he got up to complain to the ref. And then Conor got up. They both legit missed a punch towards each other. They both threw a punch. They both missed. Conor backed up, and I guess apparently broke his tibia, which is not his ankle. It's actually, I guess, part of the shin. And something kind of like Anderson Silva and Chris Weidman. Yeah, so Conor goes down, right? Conor goes down. Dustin starts beating him up, and that's the first round. Now, in my head, I thought, okay, they missed the punch. So how did Conor fall, right? And the slow motion reveals that he actually fell from throwing a punch, and he just folded under his own leg. So everyone is complaining about should this be a doctor stoppage or just straight up TKO. Now look, it is hilarious that people actually believe that there should be a Dustin McGregor 4. It's not necessary, because what happened that first round? We all know Dustin won. When he started piecing up Conor, Conor wrapped up. When they went to the ground, because Conor thinks he's a submission specialist, Dustin started ground and pounding him. It's sad to see when people are in denial that their fighter got dominated. It is what it is, guys. I know all you Conor fans are like, oh, no, fourth fight, that wasn't a real win. But look, Dustin beat him the whole first round, and Conor basically hurt himself. And Dustin said that he checked a leg kick from Conor. How do you know that's not true? How do you know? He was throwing a lot of leg kicks, and Dustin was checking most of them. So it is what it is, man. But towards the end of the fight, I really didn't like the way Conor McGregor was holding himself. He was not humble in defeat like he said he was. And he was really disrespectful to Dustin's family, to Dustin's wife. And honestly, this is the second most embarrassing loss in MMA history ever since he lost to Khabib. And this one is probably the worst, because he's literally broken on the floor, crying basically like a child, and saying that your wife's in my DMs, meet me later, all that stuff. Really disrespectful, not a class act, and really, really, really embarrassing. You know, Dustin, he was trying to give Conor respect and trying to like be real nice, and then he just decided, you know what, like, this guy's a dirtbag, whatever. Of course he won. Everyone's saying that Dustin didn't win. He won. He beat Conor the first round, and what happened happened. So TKO, doctor stoppage, doesn't matter. At the end of the day, Dustin got his hand raised, and he's going to go fight for the belt, and Conor's going to be out for probably a year, because that's a serious leg injury. And yeah, it was funny to see, like, it's not over. And at one point he started like talking to Joe Rogan, and I couldn't really understand him at all. Like, I couldn't understand like anything he said. Look, you talk about a guy's family, you say you're going to kill him, you say you're going to put him on a stretcher. What else is next? You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. Like, at the end of the fight, it's like Conor showed his true colors, and it amazes me that people are a fan of this guy. Like a fan as in like a fighter, cool. But a fan as Conor as a person, like, dude, super disrespectful. Honestly, I'm glad that the way it ended, because he said he was going to kill Dustin. He said he's going to put him on a stretcher, all this stuff about his wife. And at the end of the day, Khabib is right. He said, good always defeats evil. And there it is. Conor was coming at him. How do you go from, like, really respectful, holding his hot sauce, and then the next fight, hillbilly, inbred, all this stuff, calling Dustin names, and then everything that he said that he would do to Dustin happened to him. It's like, I'm going to put you on a stretcher, your career's over. And ironically, Conor got pulled off in a stretcher, and I truly believe that his career is over. 100% over. Even let's put it in perspective, okay? Let's put it in perspective. It's a very serious leg injury, okay? Even if he comes back and he fights Diaz, let's say he fights Diaz, you don't think that leg injury is going to bother him in that fight or any fight that he comes back to? Like, think about it. If he gets a low calf kick, you know what I mean? Like those low calf kicks that Dustin got him out in the second round before he knocked him out. It is what it is. I think a lot of people just can't understand, like they can't wrap their head around that Conor McGregor is done. He lost twice to Dustin Poirier, the number one contender. It's time for Dustin to get the title shot and fight Charlie Olives so that we can see who's the next champ or if Charlie can stay the champ. So regardless, that fight is going to be amazing. But as far as Conor McGregor's career, a lot of people I see on social media, especially like Instagram and all that, Twitter, everyone's saying that it's not a real win and that Dustin, they're going to fight in a fourth fight. Even Dana White has said, oh, maybe when in the future when Conor gets better, we'll be talking about a fourth fight. It's like, guys, how many fights do you guys want to do it till Conor wins? That's basically what they want. It's like Dana wants to make this fight until Conor wins. He lost, bro. He literally lost. Conor got dominated both times. Trust me, if Conor and Dustin Poirier 3 went to the second round, Dustin's knocking him out again. That's pretty much what was going to happen. What's he going to do? Throw kicks? I'm sure his leg was hurting after he got checked. So it is what it is. The result is the Diamond is the winner. Really crazy ending to the trilogy fight. And shout out Dustin. He took the high road in the interview, and he did throw some shade. And that's good because, honestly, a guy who talks about your family, and especially your wife, should never respect someone like that. So shout out Dustin for getting the W. And I like what Dustin said. He said, karma's not a bitch, it's a mirror. So the wise words of the Diamond. And honestly, the best ending to UFC 264. Just so everybody knows, I'm back in my studio. Obviously, you can see the set right now. But I am trying to get a spot so that I could get more interviews, in-person interviews. And the GreenSkull podcast is only progressing from here on out. Thank you guys for supporting. And shout out everybody who's been like DMing me about ideas and like who to put on, get an interview with. I appreciate you guys, the GreenSkull family. Those were my picks and the results of UFC 264. Thank you guys for listening and have a good one. Peace.
You're listening to the GreenSkull podcast.
A podcast for fight fans, music artists, and creatives alike.